polar.
All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you, Andrew, for taking care of our YouTube channel. I'm going to call this meeting to order. Is everybody ready? Oh, I scared me. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight for our county council meeting. We appreciate you being here. We're going to go ahead and start with an opening by Councilman Nolan Gunnell.
Well, September is a neat month. Tomorrow is the anniversary of the signing of the Constitution, something that we all benefit greatly from and hope to preserve it. I'd just like to read a little bit about Ben Franklin. He was one of the only founding fathers to sign all three of America's most important documents: the Declaration of Independence, the Treaty of Paris that ended the Revolution, and the U.S. Constitution. He also had a gift for humor in serious moments. During one tense debate, Franklin warned his fellow delegates, "We must all hang together, or most assuredly we shall all hang separately." At the Constitutional Convention, he was the oldest delegate, 81 years of age at that time that he signed it. He was weak and in pain, but he kept everyone working together. When the Constitution was signed, a woman asked, "Dr. Franklin, what have we got? A republic or a monarchy?" He famously answered, "A republic if you can keep it." So Franklin wasn't just a scientist or an inventor. He was a master diplomat, a peacekeeper, and a voice of wisdom who gave the United States both allies and a constitution. And I hope we all cherish that. Franklin really only had 2 years of schooling, but he was a man that read and wrote a lot of things and was very skillful in his part of this freedom for the United States, and I hope we think a lot of that. I will now like to form my words in a prayer. Our Father in heaven, we come before Thee at this time as we give thanks for the opportunity of assembling in this county of Cache in the state of Utah, and for the government which we are able to participate in and benefit from. We give thanks for the Constitution. We're grateful for this document and that it is preserved so long, and we pray that it will continue to do so, and that we as a people will honor it and cherish it. We give thanks for those men and women who serve and protect us this day in this land and in distant lands, and for those who have gone before us. We give thanks for the peace and freedom which we enjoy, and we may all cherish it. We give thanks for these things and ask that we will be safe in the deliberations which we do now, and we do this in the name of Thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Will you now join me with the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Does anyone want to make a motion about the review and approval of the agenda?
So moved.
Madam Chair,
No.
if I may?
You may.
Yeah, if I may, I would move to approve the agenda with the following amendment, that we move item 5 to come after item 6A.
That's great with me. Someone want to second that?
Second that. Madam Chair, we also need to make an amendment on the public hearing portion.
Okay.
I believe we need to remove item 7.
Okay.
Just 7, so we're not yet ready for that.
Okay. So with those amendments, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. The review and approval of the minutes. I had an amendment to the minutes. Does anyone else have something about the minutes? Okay, Keegan, go ahead.
Just a small one. Timestamp 2/12/04. It says audito instead of auditor.
Okay.
I don't know if that's the correct pronunciation, but that's how it was spelled. It
The
just
R was
dropped
left
the
off.
R. So just a small thing.
Okay, and then in B, at the very bottom of B, on the timestamp 10154, it says that I asked for an update on it says AG report. What I want is an update on the AGRI-port, the AGRI-port, like AGRI. That was it. I'm sure it sounded like the AGRI-port when I said it, but, okay. with those amendments, does anyone else have any other changes? Okay, does someone want to make a motion about that?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the agenda with those amendments, or the minutes with those amendments. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, all right, so we are going to do 6A right now. So I have a statement to read. It says, following the proper provisions for selecting an interim replacement county executive for Cache County, Chair Natalie Levi of the Cache County Republican Party notified me 7 calendar days ago that the Cache County Republican Party has selected George Daines. Now, per the provisions of Utah Code 220A-1-508, we are now to vote on and appoint in George Daines as an interim replacement Cache County executive to serve for the remainder of the term that David Inzuk was elected to serve. Can I get someone to make a motion on that?
I move that we approve that from Natalie Levi and appoint and vote on Mr. Daines as being the executive.
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we accept and approve George Daines as the interim Cache County executive. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? Okay, George, we'd like to invite you to come forward for your swearing in. Bryson's going to take care of that for us.
Arm to the square and repeat after me. I state your name,
I, N. George Daines,
having been appointed to the office
having been appointed to the office
of Cache County Executive Surveyor,
of the office of the Cache County Executive Surveyor,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support,
that I will support,
obey,
obey,
and defend
the
the Constitution of the United States
Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Utah,
and the Constitution of the State of Utah,
and that I will discharge
and that I will discharge
the duties of my office
the duties of my office
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
Awesome. Congratulations.
We're going to invite you to take your spot right over there, and we already have a nameplate for you, so you can be official. All right, so the next item on the agenda is the report of the county executive, so we'll move right to that if you're ready.
I'm ready. I do want to thank all of you, council, and those here for the opportunity to serve this county again. I left this office of county attorney some 17 years ago. I served for 6 years. I greatly enjoyed my service here. I enjoyed the friends that I made, and I enjoyed doing the work of Cache County. I greatly appreciate the opportunity to serve again, and I hope to do so in the best that I can possibly provide this county. I think we all love Cache County. I'm in the business of reorganizing the office of the county executive. We have much reorganization to do in that office. We're working through it. This afternoon I received the resignation of Eric Anderson, and I told Mr. Anderson I appreciated his service and I appreciated his cooperation with me and that I wished him well. His resignation is effective upon my appointment. So that's part of my report. The other part of my report is to just simply say that we're enmeshed in the budget process. We have much to do with the budget, and we're going to try and catch up with that, and we'll be working as hard as we can on that during the next few weeks. Thank you.
Dirk, would you come up for just a minute, please? On behalf of the Cache County Council, I would like to express our appreciation for the time and tireless dedication that Dirk has given to Cache County over the last 3.5 years. We acknowledge his service in this capacity and thank him for his many efforts on behalf of the county, and we really wish you well in your future, Dirk. Thank you. And we have something for you. Bryson's going to pull it out. Would you like to say something?
Just for a couple seconds.
Perfect.
Thank you, Madam Chair. 3.5 years ago, it was a very, it's a memorable night to get sworn in, and then I was allowed to say some words back then. And so I just wanted everyone to know that we are in good hands with George coming at the helm. This guy means business, and he's going to take care of it, and I'm really excited to see where we go from here. I just want the whole county to know that any Cache County employee or elected official, it's an honor to serve in that position. And especially, Nolan, thanks for reminding me about one of my favorite days, tomorrow. I actually wish I would have done a typo now and put my resignation, just as a typo, George, as tomorrow's date, because that would be really cool. But maybe instead tomorrow's date, Constitution Day, can be my new start instead. And we are just so honored to live in the best county in the nation. And all of the leaders we have going right now, we've got a lot of good going for our county. So I really appreciate the honor. I want the whole county to know that on that night, I went around and I shook hands with every council member, and I said it and I meant it. And I said, thank you for serving. Thank you for running and winning your election, because the service is sincere and heartfelt, but not always appreciated. The job that the council and that the county executive have is a hard one, but it's a good one. So, George, thank you so much for being so kind to me and for listening. We're still meeting. We met yesterday, and we're probably meeting tomorrow, just to try to get the list of him to, things that, the long list of to-dos. And there is a long list, and it's great. So thank you, Cache County. Thank you, County Council. And thanks for letting me say something, because it is an honor to serve, and I've really appreciated my time here. So good luck, George. You're going to do great. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Dirk. Okay, and thank you to all of George's family for joining us. Okay, the next thing on our item is the annual external audit. We'll turn some time over to Jason Slate from Jones Simpkins.
Thank you. I don't know why in these meetings, but the audit presentation always comes after something really exciting. And so, my name is Jason Slide. I'm an audit partner with Jones Simpkins. We are a CPA firm just a mile west of here. And we had the opportunity to work with primarily your finance department this year on your, and with your county auditor, Mr. Funk, on your audit. And I would just like to go over how that process works, the reports that we issue, and the conclusions that we came to, or that we arrived at as a result of our audit. I won't really speak to the numbers in the financial statements. You should have all received a PDF copy, and then we decided to bring you a hard copy as well. I'll just say the county, I think if you look at the bottom line, just the bottom line number, the county had a good year. I'll say that. But our audit isn't meant to be how well the county did. It's based on, we give an opinion based on whether or not the information in the financial statements is materially correct. So we issue 4 reports in these financial statements. The first is found on page 1. It's an independent auditor's report. And we discuss the opinions that we've issued, how we arrived at those opinions, what our responsibilities are as auditors, what management's responsibility is as far as providing us with the information that we need to perform our audit. But really, we just have 2 objectives. Our first is to obtain reasonable assurance that the financial statements are materially correct and that they're being presented in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. And then our second objective is to issue an opinion. We arrive at that opinion by performing audit procedures, and those are based on professional judgment. We're required to maintain professional skepticism. We don't just take your word for it. We obtain support for all the information that we ask for. We perform risk assessments. We focus most of our procedures on riskier areas, high dollar areas. And we look at your policies and procedures to see if there's any reason why there might be an issue there that would prevent the financial statements from being presented in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. And then we perform our procedures. And if we identify anything that we consider to be a material misstatement, we'll bring that to management and decide if an adjustment needs to be made. Materiality is an interesting term. I think a good example of that would be we issued some bonds this last year. If something were omitted from the financial statements that a bonding agency used to determine your bond rating or the interest rate that you were able to receive in relation to those bonds, that would be considered material. So that's kind of what we arrive at. A reasonable user of the financial statements, what would affect their decision making? So based on auditor judgment, we develop a level of materiality and then we perform our procedures. I can say, as right at the top of the page 1, you'll see that we issue an opinion that these financial statements are materially correct. That the information is presented in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles based on an audit that we performed in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards. The next report is a long ways. These are long financial statements, but they're a long ways in the back, page 104. In governmental audits, we're also required to issue a report on internal controls and compliance. We don't test the operating effectiveness of internal controls and tell you whether or not your controls are functioning or that they're effective, that they're operating effectively. But in our audit process, we're required to obtain an understanding of the design and functionality of your controls. And if we identify weaknesses or deficiencies in those controls, we'll let you know. And so that's what that report says. And there are 2 areas that we've identified that I'll speak to in a little bit when it comes to controls. And it's mostly related to the material misstatements that we identified as a result of our audit. But I'll speak to that in just a minute. Page 106, when the county spends more than $750,000 in federal funds, you're required to have what's called a single audit, which is a federal compliance audit. They call it a single audit because you take the financial statement audit and this federal compliance audit and we pull it together into one single audit. The county spent well above $750,000 this last year. The county and its component units combined spent $14.5 million. And so based on certain coverage requirements and different things that are issued by the federal government, we select certain federal grants. Most of it is going to be your larger grants. Smaller grants aren't looked at as often. We're required to obtain 40% coverage. We tested 8.8 million of the 14.5 million this year. Most of that was those ARPA funds that are continuing to be spent. I'm happy to report we have no findings there. Your federal awards are in good shape as far as the processes and the reporting that goes along with those. And then finally on page, it's at the end, page I think 116, we're required in the state of Utah to perform some additional compliance procedures related to the state auditor's compliance guide. Not every state does that. We work in a number of states, and Utah's unique in that the state auditor's office issues its own compliance guide. And there's 10 to 15 compliance requirements, depending on the type of government agency you are, whether you're a county, municipality, special district. Some of those we test every year. Some we test on we have a rotation every 3 years. This year, if you look on page, I believe it is 116, we were required to test budgetary compliance with fund balance in your general fund, information related to restricted taxes, the fraud risk assessment, which you guys do each year, government fees, whether or not those are in excess of costs associated with the services you're providing, and then your tax levies. Again, no findings in that area. So those are the 4 reports that we issue. If we'll now jump back to page 109, this is a summary. Basically, it's a summary of what I just went over of our findings and if we had any question costs associated with federal awards. We did identify, and what we feel like there's a material weakness in internal controls. A material weakness is a weakness that if it's not, if it exists, there's a good chance, a really high chance that you'll have a material misstatement. And then we identified a significant deficiency, which is not quite to the level of material weakness. And we explained those on 110 and 111. What I want to emphasize is I believe that those are mostly related to the significant amount of turnover that has happened at the county, specifically in the finance department over the last few years. You had a member that did a lot of reconciling and things like that in Phil Noble, who left the county last year. So I really think it's attributed mostly to that turnover. And we've received a corrective action plan from the auditor, Auditor Funk, and that's on page 113.